Data-driven reading programs proven to create lifelong readers, a capstone project by Emily Gross of the University of Houston. Within every school, there are children who struggle to read on grade level, and it is the job of the classroom teacher and reading specialist to identify these children and facilitate literacy. What is the path towards literacy? Should one use reading programs? If so, which programs and why? As I work to get my master's at the University of Houston and become a reading specialist myself, I anticipate being faced with these questions. Therefore, I am looking for answers. I begin by researching reading programs and learning strategies with certain goals. First, I aim to determine what elements make up a successful reading program. Next, I will define what metric is used to measure a reading program success. And last, I will attempt to discover evidence-based reading programs that are proven to increase student literacy. So first, what components make up a successful reading program? It is generally accepted that 7 types of instruction are to be present: phonological awareness, phonics, spelling, irregular word teaching, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension strategy. The Reading and Literacy Discovery Center of Cincinnati Children's Hospital scientifically evaluated a wide selection of reading programs. Their research suggests greater gains in all levels of reading measures and comprehension are achieved when using techniques that specifically address fluency. Based on this study, it would be more effective to allocate resources towards those programs that emphasize fluency. Struggling readers can be assisted with both reading programs and high-quality classroom practices. This starts with teachers. The National Center for Educational Statistics school and staffing survey data indicated that there were 29,000 individuals who were working as reading specialists in the U.S. schools, but only 1/3 of those individuals reported holding a graduate degree with an emphasis on reading. Therefore, it would make a big difference to provide high-quality training to the many professionals working with readers that might not otherwise be trained. Standardized testing is a major component of our current classroom culture. Curriculum is based around testing and hours are dedicated towards preparing. However, according to John T. Guthrie, a researcher and scholar at the University of Maryland, there is no research to demonstrate that test prep actually improves performance on standardized tests, much less reading development. Instead, students need to spend more time with appropriately leveled text. How do we know what works when it comes to reading programs and classroom practice? The Department of Education's Institute of Education Sciences created What Works Clearinghouse, which collects only peer-reviewed research of a certain standard to evaluate learning programs and systems. It is a central source to find educational programs that are proven with research to be effective. These studies collect the results measured immediately after each intervention in the domain of the program's focus. For instance, an intervention centered on fluency might measure the increase in words per minute from the start to the end of the program. This image from the WWC website demonstrated this idea. The improvement index of this intervention is measured by the aggregate data of the peer-reviewed research. We can expect this type of metric to provide the most accurate portrayal of an intervention success. Various types of standardized testing, such as the Common Core or NAEP, or PISA, Program for International Student Assessment, can also provide data, but it might be less reliable considering the many variables involved. In summary, instead of measuring a literacy program success on test scores, we should look instead to research-based studies that show improvement in certain reading domains. We aim for students to become successful lifelong readers, as opposed to test takers. Understanding words is one of the many reading programs available. Students with difficulties reading underwent this 40-hour program over the course of 20 weeks. Researchers found that 84% of the sample students returned to an average level of reading ability following intervention. This evidence suggests understanding words could be an effective intervention for struggling readers. There are limitations to the research, and this program is not one reviewed on the WWC website, so we don't have the best metrics to assess it. RTI is a school-wide support system that provides more specific interventions for at-risk students. The idea guiding RTI is to identify struggling learners early and provide multiple tiers of intervention both academically and behaviorally. Similarly to understanding words, RTI is not reviewed by WWC, so we cannot know for certain its efficacy, though RTI is widely used and accepted. Of the 153 different reading programs reviewed by the WWC, only one had strong evidence that it improved reading achievement. One. That program was Reading Recovery, a first-grade reading intervention program that features a year-long intensive professional development component and when teachers learn how 6-year-olds get confused and begin to struggle with reading acquisition. Encouragingly, Reading Recovery is also a nonprofit organization, so the costs to set up and maintain are minimal. The combination of low costs and proven results in improving literacy suggests Reading Recovery would be a good program to consider in an elementary environment. On a personal level, the data encourages me to implement Reading Recovery at my own school because it has a focus on fluency and proven results. I also aim to study the programs I already use at my own school to measure their effectiveness, because I was unable to find literature for either Lively Letters, a phonics program, and Lucy Calkins, a reading-writing program. All in all, we can draw certain conclusions from this literature review. Programs that focus more on fluency have a greater effect on overall reading. What Works Clearinghouse is a valuable resource when gauging the efficacy of different programs. And lastly, schools should be structured to allow for a multi-tiered model of intervention, and struggling readers should be receiving high-quality lessons from trained professionals. Using this knowledge, educators can help address those struggling readers early and give them the appropriate intervention they need to succeed.